So I don't know how much you guys pay attention to the press conferences that come out after every game or during the week that Kyle Shanahan has, but something very telling came out of the last one that he had, which I'm not going to lie, aggravated me somewhat. As a reporter asked him about Jimmy Garoppolo and the future of quarterback, he made a statement pretty much implying that he expects Jimmy to be the starter next year. And, he made a comment following that, if there's not a better option, then, if there is a better option to go to, then he would. But, he brought up the stats of, he's a winner and yada, yada, yada. And, it just got me thinking that if this regime thinks that they can just stand pat and not make any moves and think for some strange reason that all we need is health and that we could run it back and not make any wholesale changes to a number of areas, then they're fooling themselves, and they deserve to be fired if this team next year falls into the same trap and has the same issues reoccurring as they've been, other than our Super Bowl run last year. To me, there's a sense of arrogance and a sense of pride that I get from Kyle Shanahan. And don't get me wrong, he's an unbelievable coach and play caller, but thinking you can just kind of go, like I said, stand pat and not make changes to certain areas on your team is just it's a ridiculous way of thinking. This team has so many things that they need to address. They need to address their offensive line, which if you move on from Garoppolo and you free up cap space and maybe you bring in a veteran quarterback, say like a Jacoby Brissett or something, and then draft somebody, you can do those things. He made a comment about Garoppolo's contract, not being that big of a deal, and that, he's actually middle of the road when it comes to quarterbacks being paid in the league. And I mean, I don't know what these guys are on, but to think that you can improve your team by moving on from such a hefty contract for a guy that's never healthy and who has shown that, yeah, he can win and everything, but is he really talented enough to have the team be put on his shoulders? And the answer is no. He's proven that that's not the case. You go from offensive line, we have secondary issues that we're going to have to address with many people leaving because of free agency. Of course, free agency, one of the other things that we need to deal with is getting more pass rush. Someone opposite of Nick Bosa, a speed rusher. That's definitely something we need to address. And then, of course, you look at quarterback. I mean, that's the number one thing that has to change in this offseason. Not even as your starter, but as your backup as well. This team, if it finds itself in the same position next year and they pass on trying to make wholesale changes, especially at quarterback, then I think that the current regime should be held accountable. I can't see a future with things the way that they are, especially if you have a quarterback that takes that much up of your cap, who doesn't produce on an elite level and is never really healthy. You bring somebody in here maybe on a lower number, like I said, maybe a Jacoby Brissett, and you draft to say a guy, so say like Lance Fields, that drops to you at that position. The Niners are supposed to acquire a compensatory pick this year for Saleh if he leaves. They also will receive a compensatory pick for Emmanuel Sanders. From what I've heard, they'll have up almost to 10 picks. And, I can understand if you want to stand pat at that number or that position and draft whatever comes to you at the 14th or 15th or 16th pick. And if that's a quarterback that maybe has fallen a little bit, then do that. But to not make any moves or to say, we have the capability of, getting there. We've proven it and we're just going to run it back with the guys that we have. That's just nonsense and it's not going to work. You're going to be the laughingstock of the NFC West. The Seahawks and the Cardinals are going to continue to be better than you and other teams as well. Quarterback is a position that needs to be addressed on this team, and it is a position that is vital if you want to be a contender. I mean, just look at the Buffalo Bills. They finally have somebody behind center that, can make up for any types of lapses or quality of play issues on other parts of the team because he's that high level of a quarterback. And that's what the 49ers need. They need somebody that can, whose level of play can compensate for stuff that we lack on our team, whether it's defensively or other areas, because his level of play is so high. It's going to be an interesting offseason to see if this regime falls back on its same old habits. I mean, look at the health of all of our players this year. Look at how many high ankle sprains there's been. They've been quoted as saying they're not going to make any changes to the strength and conditioning staff. Again, staying pat, thinking everything's fine. Like I said, if we're in the same position next year and things don't change and we don't make the necessary moves to better this team in all aspects, then they should be held accountable, both Kyle and John. Let's hope that in the next coming months we get some more clarity on a lot of things, and maybe drafting a quarterback becomes something viable, and we'll be better for it. But unfortunately, until that happens and until we see what plan of action they're going to take, we don't really know. And I'll be super frustrated if they stand pat and don't make any necessary moves that they need to make. So I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you think the Niners should make some wholesale changes, stay the same? Tell me what you think. See you guys on the flip side. Stay healthy and safe, and I'll see you then.